Three nerds, endless tangents, no comic required. I'm Sal.
I'm Ethan.
I'm Jason.
Hey, we're gonna talk
Hey.
about Star Trek again. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna talk about science fiction and all kinds of other fun stuff.
Which includes
It's
Star
not
Trek.
just. It will include Star Trek invariably.
Does it include Star Wars?
Oh, of course it will. Yes,
It better.
Okay.
I wore my shirt.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, look at that.
that's right. Yeah, yeah. But no, I'm excited. We're talking about. I actually was inspired by this topic, and it's kind of just about like how science fiction, by way of Star Trek and Star Wars, kind of like predicted / missed the future, like figured it out, but also totally didn't and like missed the mark. And we're going to talk about basically the science fiction view of technology and how it's transformed and changed over the years and what's informed it. Like Ethan and I were talking off mic recently about the idea of like, how it went from a optimistic vision of the future of the 60s, 50s, and 60s to a more cynical vision of the future from the 70s to a more realistic vision of the future from the 2000s onward, and how the technology's kind of reflected that. And also other things that have informed it as well, like just the fact that, for whatever reason, they're like, oh, well, as long as if I don't see holograms in this computer sequence, then then you didn't spend any money. Like it needs to have holograms in it.
Right. You have to
Everything.
believe that it's futuristic, right?
Yeah, that doesn't look futuristic. And it's like back in the day where it was like, I just took some styrofoam that came with my television and I spray painted it silver, and that looks futuristic enough. Like, I think we're good.
Well, what's funny is people in the 50s or 60s had a vision for like what it would look like in the year 2025. And
Yeah.
if they saw what it was, they'd be like, you're not in the future. Nothing about, like, if someone made a movie about 2025 in 1950 and it looked like it does now, they'd be like, that's not the future. What are you talking
Right.
about?
This is just stupid.
I actually have like a great example of that, and it's kind of hilarious. And it's the Carousel of Wonders ride at Disney. How
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have ever ridden this
Oh, I
horrible
have.
ride.
Yeah.
It is a great place for a nap.
Or to make
go
out
in-
with someone.
Or make out, yeah, because it'll be empty. But you go in and it's like a moving theater. You sit down and like the whole thing rotates, and you're just looking at basically moving dioramas on the stage in front of you. And they feature different eras of American civilization and like the home, like the suburban home. And for a while it hadn't been updated. So their vision of the future looked like the future when Disney made that ride. Like Walt made that ride. But then they updated it recently, so it just blows. Like everything from the
Yeah, because
previous
now it's
thing
a
still,
realistic version of like 10 years in the future or something.
right? And
Which
it's like
sucks.
it just sucks. It's like, oh yeah,
Which that
what do
in
we
and of
have? We have
itself-
a microwave like we had
but
45,
it talks
55
to you
years
now.
ago.
It's like AI enabled or whatever. It's
Great.
it's actually an example of what you're talking about, where the vision of the future has changed dramatically now from
Yeah.
what it was. Like
Right.
we no longer have this optimistic. I mean, it's still optimistic in that you assume it will be
That
more
there will be
advanced.
one.
Yeah, and it will be there, and you will have these new technologies, but it's no longer like, and it's gonna look awesome and also totally different. Like, no, it won't look any different. It will look basically
Right.
the same.
Well, there's nothing more cynical or dystopian than a new piece of technology that was like unveiled 2 days ago from Apple, the iPhone Pocket.
Right.
Have you guys seen the
What?
iPhone
No.
Pocket?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is an effing strap you could put your iPhone in, and it comes in a variety of colors, and you can make it a crossbody bag for your phone.
Right. It's a little purse for your bag.
It's a purse for your bag. That's $250. There's
Oh,
nothing
well.
more dystopian.
I mean, they
than
charge
the
$250
iPhone.
for earbuds, so that makes total sense.
Those play sound.
Well, that is true.
That's a technological advancement of some kind. At least it's a pair of headphones. This is a strap you could make yourself.
Well, like Gucci would sell the $800 strap.
Let
So
them.
why
That's
not?
their business. Gucci makes bags.
Here is the thing that maybe Apple could try doing. Instead of selling a phone that's so large that it needs
You
its
have
own
to carry
purse,
a friggin' purse in order to have it. Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe they could start selling a reasonably sized phone.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah,
nice.
but then it wouldn't have a giant screen to interact with.
Oh no!
You know what's
Also,
funny? They
it wouldn't
used
be-
to sell a small phone. They had the smallest phone.
I know.
And then everyone was like, yeah, but look at this Samsung. It's so big. And they're
Right.
like, oh, that I want
And then
that.
and then Apple, I guess, got screen envy, and
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, and don't forget the phone or the camera. The camera is also you can't
Yeah.
compromise on the camera. It's got to be a certain size. It's got to be able to at least handle the hardware because I
Gotta
don't know
have
if you guys
6
know this.
lenses.
It's got to have 6 lenses because like over a decade ago, I want to say maybe 15 years ago, the iPhone replaced the camera. Like it was
Yeah.
the number one camera used in America slash the world
Mhm.
was the iPhone.
Probably America, 'cause,
Just
around the world, Androids
disgusting.
are more popular. But yeah.
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 And
So
you know what? I don't miss having to carry another friggin' thing, so I'm not sad about that, like
no, but it's I guess it like it removes any ability to have skill or
well, it does do that.
proficiency. Like
Yeah. There's
I
no
I
Well,
there's
okay.
like I think
So
because Jason's an amateur photographer.
yeah.
Like you
yes,
actually do have cameras of a variety and
yes,
you appreciate film. So
yes.
please.
Okay. So the thing that electronic cameras have done, let's call them, digital cameras have
Yeah,
done,
digital
and
cameras.
and this is whether that's like
An
a a,
iPhone or
a DSLR from Nikon or a
Canon.
Mhm.
mirrorless Canon or even an iPhone, right? Is it has made it so that every picture you take is in focused and well exposed.
Yes.
And that used to be part of the skill set of operating one of these
Yeah.
cantankerous devices, right? Is you had to
Yeah.
know how to make that happen, right? Okay. So it's made that a non-issue. Um, which is great. It makes it easy. You can just like point the thing and take a picture. Hey, look, I got it. But it also leads to, I don't want to say laziness. That's not the right word. There's
Certainly a
still
lack of respect.
no. There's still a poorly composed image is still a poorly composed image.
Yes.
Regardless of
And
shot composition and
regardless
color
of what you
composition.
take it with, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you get millions and millions and millions of very uninteresting, boring, well exposed, perfectly in focus pictures.
Yes. Typically of the subject who's taking the photo. But
Well,
Yes.
that's another
yes.
topic. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
I hear
I
you.
I see what you're saying. The
And
the
so
the
it
skill required to like learning the skill required to get a shot in focus, you would also pick up other related skills such as shot composition, right? Because you're
right,
interested in the skill of photography, and so you learn from
right,
people who tell you all the skills, not just
right,
not
right,
just
right.
how to get it in focus and get the lighting right, but also like,
Yeah.
and here's what makes it interesting. Whereas if you don't have to learn anything from anyone, you just miss all that extra stuff.
Well, and I
That's right.
think also just building off of that, you also have the scarcity angle if we're going back a ways of
Mhm.
film, right? So
Yes.
you only have so many shots, so you have to get it right. And then you
Right.
think, well, is this shot interesting enough to warrant
To
me
waste
pushing the
a
button?
yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Right. And now it's like that's one of the things that I actually appreciated about the period in between like the iPhone and the digital camera. Like I remember the original digital camera. Like I remember when one of our mutual friends brought his like the first digital camera had 6 megapixels,
Mhm.
and he took so many pictures. And that's the thing is that it like the storage was unheard of. He
Mhm.
could store 100 photos, but
Ooh.
those photos look like total garbage
Yes. Yeah. So
because they are
Yeah.
because there's nothing left.
Artistry. Yeah.
Yeah, they look like Super Mario from the NES. Like
Well,
they're all
yeah.
just
yeah.
made of pixels. It's
Yeah.
horrible.
Well, I remember the first digital camera I played around with was, I think, in like a lab at school, and it was
Mm.
2 megapixels.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
those looked
Okay.
like dog shit, but
yeah.
it was
So
still amazing, right?
It was like this. I see where this is going, and I can't wait to not have to go to the CVS to get my film developed. Like that's going to be
right.
awesome. So looking at the utopian vision of the future from science fiction, and I think we have to go with like just Star Trek the original series, right? Like what is their depiction
Mm.
of an idyllic future by way of tech that we could also say, yeah, you got that, or No, we still haven't gotten there. I'm not talking about like TNG, which is more or less like a counterculture reaction to 70s sci-fi, being like, everything sucks, mega corporations ruin everything, we're ruined. Everything is going to look like it's made in the 70s. I'm sorry, there's no hope for us. And then Rodney being like, I'm still here, you know. I did the thing before that, and now I'm back, and everything's going to be wood and carpeted and replicators. Like, yeah.
and it's gonna be comfortable.
The future's gonna be comfortable.
That's right.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
that's an interesting idea.
They were trying to make the future comfortable in the 70s with Star Trek the Motion Picture, where everyone's wearing lounge attire.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
Yeah,
right. McCoy
everyone's
shows up in his leisure suit.
Yeah.
everyone's
I love
just
that.
showing up to an orgy. That's what everybody looks like in that movie. They're like, where's the bowl of keys? And they're like, we're trying to fly a starship here, sir.
But
Starship
it's over
don't
there.
use
though.
keys.
But it is over here. Take out of the blue bowl.
So I'm going to take this on a little bit of a tangent because this raises for me something interesting, which is that we have this idea that Star Trek the original series represents what the vision of the future was at some point. I would argue that it never really did. And in fact, it was always just Gene Roddenberry's vision, because even in, I forget what year Star Trek the original series came out, but it was
67?
mid 60s
66?
to late 60s. I would say the optimism of kind of like the 50s for the future was already being replaced. And
Yeah,
there's
it is
tons
late
of sci-fi
60s.
of like aliens killing everybody. You know, like
The 50s, but that was I think that was the 50s reaction. That was more social commentary. Like, they're like, we can't outright say you can't trust the Russians, even though we do every day and we have trials to prove it. But what if we also otherize them by turning them into saucer men?
right.
Yeah, right.
You know, that is
Yeah,
not
and
a
I
vision
would
of the
argue
future.
that Star Trek was a reaction against that
50s
vision of the
demonization.
future.
Yeah.
Because you very deliberately had Chekhov as a Russian
Right.
with the good guys, right? So that's like,
Right.
he's like, no, that's wrong. They're not our enemies by nature. You know, we have disagreements on ideology, but it's not the idea that they're evil.
They're biologically predisposed. Yeah.
I think the vision of the future as set out in the original series with that like social piece was very forward thinking and correct, where it's like, no, look, we're all just people and we're here doing a thing together.
Exactly.
And I think that was great and beautiful, and something that I think we still struggle to strive for in many situations, right?
Well, when you launch your Star Trek channel, you can talk all about how we've gotten away from it.
Right.
I should also point out, I think it was recently I read that the Kelvin timeline is officially dead. There's no more Abrams vision. They're not going to bring back the new original crew. They're not thinking about that anymore. And I guarantee you it's not because they were like, well, we don't really agree with the vision that they had for Star Trek. It's everyone we cast as the original crew, except for Zachary Quinto, are A-list celebrities, and we can't get them to show up in the same room together. Like, it will cost as much to get them in the room as it will to make the Enterprise do its thing. It's just too expensive. Like, well, and that's really, like, that's another tangent in and of itself, is just that, like, Star Trek is inherently no Star Trek movie show, whatever, should cost as much as a Star Wars movie. Like, I think Star Wars is an effects forward property, and Star Trek is a talking head forward property. Like, Star Trek should always be pretty cheap to make. I mean, the audience has inherently, from its inception, accepted that it looks cheap, and they embrace it wholly. From an outsider's perspective, I suggest that, like, the audience at large was like, yeah, we know that, like, there's a guy who's pulling the door.
So for the original
like,
series, yes. I feel like once they got to TNG, less so.
Right.
Well,
TNG was an expensive show to make.
Yeah, which I don't understand why.
Outside
of,
they
like,
they
the
had
models.
to do a lot of model shots. Yeah, they had to do special effects, which look like shit now, but that was the late 80s. That was cutting edge.
Yes,
for
it was.
TV. Remember, TV was not like TV now.
No,
right? The budget for TV was supposed to be cheap.
Yeah.
So if you were doing anything effects wise, it's like, I don't know if we could fucking afford this. And I think they were just like, no, there's so many. Star Trek the original series is such a phenomenon. There's so many of these goddamn Star Trek original series fans begging for Star Trek content that we can make an expensive Star Trek show and they will show up because of the nostalgia factor.
I think
Right.
it wasn't even that. I think it was there's so many of them we can get away with making movies. And once we made a movie
Well,
franchise,
they
we're like,
did,
oh, we
yeah.
can get back and make a show, and we can even spend more to make that show look
Right.
more
That's
real.
absolutely correct. Yes, the
Well,
movies definitely enabled the show.
though there's a lot of first season still looks pretty cheap.
Yes.
It-
Oh, of TNG? Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, well, Roddenberry A is still there, so
Oh,
he's
right,
like,
he's making
well,
it
this
cheap.
isn't like when we did it in the '60s. It'll be easy. Like, they're like, I'm
Right.
sorry, but
Where's your
Yeah.
styrofoam and your spray paint? Come on.
that being said,
Yeah.
having seen a lot of like Red Letter Media reclamations of old TNG memorabilia, I could tell you that like it's a lot of styrofoam and plexiglass.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, it is still
But
pretty cheap.
I mean, here's the thing. Even a movie set looks pretty cheap when you
When you get there.
when you get the stuff. You get the movie props in your hands, like, what the hell? Because that's the
Oh, yeah.
magic of it, right? So like that's always gonna be the fact. And with TV also at that time, that was how you did it. You didn't make your first season really good. Why
Right.
would you bother? You got to prove that anyone cares at all before I'm going to
Yeah.
invest in this thing. So
Right,
the
we have
first
to make
season of like
25
most shows was
episodes.
horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, can you, if I give you almost nothing, can you make something that someone will care about? A little bit. Yes? Okay,
Yeah.
now here's some money. Do it right.
Right. Unless your Heroes, Lost, any show that's driven by J.J. Abrams or any
Well, that's JJ. Once
related
you get to
show.
JJ Abrams, the model was already changing. That was
Yeah,
already
right.
TV's
no
ruined.
longer.
But or isn't it? But yeah, no, but considering the technological forward universe of Star Trek, especially the original series, did we get anything did they get anything right?
Communicators.
Yeah, definitely mobile communicators, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Only recently, though, right? Like when I was becoming aware of Star Trek: The Original Series, that was still interesting to me. That was the mid '90s, and the idea that you could go like "Choop, choop," and just talk to someone did seem futuristic. Even though walkie-talkies and stuff were a thing. I mean, those were a thing
Yeah.
even then.
Forever.
But
Yeah.
it was more advanced than that, right? Like it was
You
like
could talk
a cell phone.
to the ship in
To
orbit.
the ship up in orbit. Yeah, like how does that work?
Right.
It
Yeah,
seemed
no.
impossible.
You could talk to Spock on the other side of the planet. Like,
Yeah.
And within 15 years of 1995, we had technology far more advanced than that. That's what's so crazy about technology.
Yeah.
Because you had a screen on it and you could, they didn't have screen, like a screen on your communicator. Wow, extravagant.
Well, and why bother? That's the thing that I actually appreciate is like, well, what do I need to see them for? I can already hear them.
Right.
That's one of the
good
things
point.
that's one of the things that astounds me, right? Like I walked my car from work, right? And like I'm on the phone, like maybe I'm talking to Sal or whatever, right? But then like without fail, you pass someone who's having a FaceTime conversation as they're walking.
Yes.
And I'm like, what? Why do you need to see them? You can already hear them.
Yeah, especially because like we were the earlier adopters of that kind of technology of like text messaging and cell phone communication, and all we could do was enjoy the luxury of not having to talk to anyone or see anybody. And within one half generation, people were like, no, if I'm taking a dump, I want them to see me and talk about it. Look at me.
How
I
many
want you to see me grimace.
How many prototypes of video phones and video conferencing existed through the 90s and early 2000s, and nobody cared?
Well, they were just so it was amazing because I remember the video phone being delightful. Like we all loved the idea of the video phone, but also that it was like too expensive, too bulky. It didn't really.
Well,
it was
think
the back
about
end infrastructure. There was no easy way to make a video call. That's the thing. Like you needed specialty hardware, and the other side needed that specialty hardware, and you needed a specialty connection, which nobody was going to buy.
Right.
No.
Because you don't need it. I would argue that even today, it's very rare for people to make video calls. They make them for like specific purposes of like
for
talking
work
to family and for work collaboration to replace physically being there. but people
Right.
still don't call each other. Like, people still text. People still much prefer to text. They much prefer to
Yep.
get a text, and that
Yep.
is something that Star Trek completely missed. There's
Totally.
like, they would be texting each other all the time in Star Trek if they knew what
Yeah.
the future was gonna be like,
Right. The
right? Like,
problem
that's
is
the
though, like
future.
Star Trek would never have embraced the text message because they would have been like, but you lose all the nuance because you'd be interpreting and
Right.
we
And
prove that.
also that doesn't work on screen, man. That doesn't work
No,
on
Oh,
TV.
that
no.
is
Uh, I have
uninteresting.
seen
Yeah.
TV shows do it interestingly, right? Where they have a
Sure, yeah,
person
like
do this,
you
and then it brings up on the
bloop.
screen, like, their messages,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. It's kind of a gimmick, but it kinda works sometimes. It really depends.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
It is
actually
weird.
also when I see
Yeah.
it, actually, I fully embrace it. Like, there's no part of me that goes, "Oh, that's weird." No, I actually really appreciate when you see like a text message appear next to the person looking at their
Mhm,
phone. Like,
mhm. 'Cause you're like, "Well, that's what they would do. They would
that's what they
text."
would. Yes, like I
Yeah.
see that, and
Right.
in no way do I have a narrative disconnect. I'm like, "Yep, that's what we should." That actually is a smart way to do that.
Yeah, it's
I
not bad.
appreciate that. It's seamless. But no,
I
text
remember
messaging
I
would
remember
not have worked.
noticing the first time I noticed it was House of Cards. They were,
Mm,
like, doing that, and I was like, "Whoa, that
yeah.
makes sense. Yes." And now it doesn't, like,
No, that doesn't phase
now
you.
it's
Now
just
you,
normal.
Yeah.
That's just how they depict that. But
yeah.
when I first saw it, I was like, "Whoa, you did that. That's right. People do text a lot. Wow, this show is, like, plugged in and, like,
Yeah.
realistic."
Yeah, this is a forward-thinking show.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about, we mentioned the fact that like the original series of Star Trek was certainly a reaction to the science fiction of the time being almost backwards in its prediction or vision of the future. Or certainly it is imbecilic, where they're like, "Oh, we're going to be invaded by aliens because I want to talk about being invaded by Russia, China, etc."
Right. Right.
Um, there's no real vision of the future outside of like Century 21 and making like, ovens that have a foot bath for your wife. Or I remember there's a great like infomercial video called Century 21 Calling, and it's I think brought to you by like AT&T or one of the phone companies about like the future of the phone. And it was from like 1960 maybe, like between the 50s and the 60s.
Mhm.
It's definitely like World's Fair era period. And the technology that they boasted would be available is stuff that not only do we never get, but we still don't have. Or if we do have it, we have an equivalent that doesn't work properly. Like they had a thing where they were like, you can start your oven by calling your house.
Right.
And I was like, well,
Okay.
you could start your oven through Wi-Fi on an app that is
Yeah.
wholly separate from every other device in your house. Like, God damn it.
Well,
And it
I
might
would
not
say
work.
I think Google Home could probably be rigged up to start your oven.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think there's
but
a way to do it. It's kinda a lot of work to set it up.
and
Right.
isn't that kind of weird? This
And
is this is unrelated, but go ahead.
oh, I was going to say, and it's annoying, right?
And it's annoying. Like
Yeah.
we're in a
Yeah,
weird
it's kinda
place where like we all grew up during a period of like post analog, pre-digital. We learned how to program VCRs and also know how to like change our phone configuration settings. We should not have to deal with the kind of butt crack showing wire configuration problems that we had in like 2001 today with all of our technology and its wire crossings. Like I shouldn't have to like really put a shit together to make my Alexa talk to my Christmas lights. And yet it's still as much of a bear as it was when I had to
You-
physically move wires around to make sound come out of multiple speakers than the original factory settings. Like, why is it still so hard?
Yeah. Do you know what joke from Spaceballs really hits home for me? It's at the
Yes.
end when they go to cancel the self-destruct and it's out of order and they go, fuck, even in the future nothing works.
Yes.
And
That
the
is
most
that is like
Yep.
that should be on the masthead above the world.
right.
Right. But, counterpoint, I could say, "Hey, Google, turn off office lights." Well, you can't see it because I have other lights
No,
that
they
are not
dimmed.
controlled
No,
by
I
but
saw
yeah,
I
you
saw.
saw
Yeah.
yeah, so and it just works, and it mostly just works. It's
Right.
annoying every time it doesn't work, but it's also like hey Google, turn on office lights. It's also eh, like magic, right?
Yes, it is.
And it
No.
did take me a little while to set it up, but once you set it
Mhm.
up, it does mostly work.
Yeah.
It's just
Right.
it works so well that when it doesn't work, you really notice it. And you're like, "Why did you fail for no reason when you've done it right 50 times in a row? Like, why did you fail now?"
Yeah.
Like, but
Right.
that's how I would argue that's how almost everything it's almost like a rule of nature
Yeah.
that getting that it's kind of like the 80-20 rule, like getting things to get like almost completely 100% successful is so much more work than getting it to like 90% effective,
That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
because you're dealing with all the like crazy edge case scenarios.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I think that's just a constant of the universe that no
Yes.
amount of progress will get you past.
I think it's an artifact of shitty programming practices
Mhm.
driven by extreme profit seeking
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
and okay.
I
Okay.
would say that's an artifact of human nature and capitalism combined, though, right?
Right.
Well,
Right.
yes,
Which,
absolutely.
So
until you scrap those systems, which you can't scrap human nature, I don't think you can free yourself
right.
of
Yes,
Right.
which also may bring us
without
back
great
to Star Trek
expense.
because,
Sure.
of course, the elimination of capitalism changes the motivations of humanity and
Mhm.
like the
Right.
the reason why we have technology. Like, why do we have technology? Like, generally speaking, we have technology to make our lives easier, right?
Sure.
That's the why we invented technology. But ask a billionaire, a corporation, or a psychopath why we have technology, and the
They're
answer is
to make
much
money.
different.
Right.
Yeah, it's to make money. And it's like, well, if you're and I remember like that's why Google is bad. Like it was originally Google was like a better search engine, and then like the new CEO of Google like took over and was like, wait, how we've reached 100% market share. Like we've reached everyone.
Right.
We've reached
We we
ubiquity.
we have
Yeah.
everyone
We
and
have
people
We have
switch. They
97%
search.
of all searches.
yeah, there are
Google
no more worlds to conquer.
Google solved search.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
fixed. It was done. It was a complete program.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then
They broke it.
on
Well,
purpose,
Yes. They were like,
they
how
broke
because
do
it.
we make
Yeah.
it worse?
Well, how
well,
do we make it profitable?
Yeah.
you make it profitable by showing people ads. And how do you show people ads? You make them type in their search 7 fucking times.
Yeah.
Okay.
So each page loads,
Yes.
they get a new
Oh,
ad.
oh, I just did it again.
Oh, Ethan has a point to make.
I gotta learn what that gesture is so that I don't do it anymore. I would say though that there's another effect. To be fair to Google, once you build a thing,
Hmm.
you create incentive for all the scammers and all the fraudsters to hack that thing to make it work for them instead of for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a blog post, laying out the gory details of how Google purposely broke search for everyone.
Yeah, no, they actually
Uh,
did. But I also it's not Google's responsibility. I mean, there is an element of like when you make a thing, you're responsible for that thing. Like you're in essence a parent, you should have
right,
responsibility for it. It's in some on some level. But also, it's like if Google sets out to make a search engine, and then like bad people co-opt, manipulate, and change that thing, like Google's responsibility for that. Like, how is that connected outside of like just I don't know protecting it in some way? But if they're just using it for nefarious purposes,
So they should have incentive to combat it so that people will continue to use it. The
well, yes,
problem
that's
is once you have a monopoly, you lose the incentive because it's like, well, what are you going to do? Use Bing? I don't think so. Maybe you'll just
yeah,
deal with how much it sucks now.
yeah.
yeah.
I
So
mean, I do. I'm not going to use Bing.
right, I do too. Yeah, of
No,
course.
It's almost
And
worse.
Bing
Yeah.
still sucks. So
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not like it's not like I
Bing
can
was
do any
never
better.
good. It's
Right.
yeah, that's the thing. Is that
Yeah.
yeah, it was
But
never a
Bing can never
viable
get
thing.
good if there's a monopoly, right? Because
right.
they'll never be able to invest enough money to
Right.
overcome the monopoly, and that's why monopolies are bad.
Yep,
Right.
yep,
Kind of, but now you're getting into like, but there's also value in not having to know like 8 different search engines and constantly switch to the best one, right? Which is there are there's also value in not having, like 7 different cable companies all running wire through your neighborhood, right? Like, so
yes.
these are not simple questions to answer. We're
No,
not
that's
gonna
true.
answer
That's
them
true.
here, but Google absolutely does abuse their power.
Yeah. Oh,
You gotta
well,
do
I
certain
mean,
things.
Right.
every
Because it's
time I use Maps, which is a miracle. Like, it's a straight up
yes.
miracle.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
not only does it have up-to-date location data and traffic data, but it also has like, I
You know,
use
that's
it.
another thing Star Trek got right. Right. Well,
What?
I don't know about Star Trek. I've seen sci-fi get it right. Right. Like plot me a course to wherever. We can
Yes.
do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, automatic navigation. That's something that we did not see coming.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorry, I
Closest
interrupted
thing we
you, but
had.
yeah.
No, it's all right. But yeah, but I every single time I use Maps, I think it would not cost them anything. Like, it would not change a thing if Google said Maps is $1 now. Like, if
Yeah, people
Maps
would still
became a
use Maps.
subscription service.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, it would just be they'd
Yeah.
be like,
I
"Well,
would
then I'll use Waze." I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Well, but
because
here's
Waze
the
won't."
sad
I'll
thing.
I'll use
They're
Apple
making
Maps.
the problem is they're making so much money from Maps already. They don't need to charge for it.
Exactly, because they're
That's the thing,
stealing
like,
your
because
data.
they're stealing your data, and people are paying Google to like improve how their businesses show up and so forth.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
they make so much money for it's like there's no altruism
No.
No.
in the
Well,
reason that Google Maps
there's
is
like inadvertent altruism. Like, they
yeah,
have
it
an
is so
incentive
great
to
that we don't have
make
to pay
Maps
for it.
still work. Like, it's
Yeah.
really great that I have a free app on my phone that gives me up to the second
Yeah.
data about traffic.
Yep.
That's
And
more
I
or less
never would have
changed
predicted that either. That's to me the thing. In the 90s, I would have said, well, that there's two ways that happens. One,
satellites.
never. Two, the government does it and just provides it as a service to people.
Right.
I would have thought that that was the only way that you could
Mhm.
make that free. I
Yeah.
didn't see the ad aspect. You know,
None
it
of us
wouldn't
did.
happen.
Right.
None of us
Yeah.
saw data mining like
Mhm.
as the method, the main source of revenue for everyone.
For the modern tech industry,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
no one pays for software anymore
No.
outside of very, very high-end corporate stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which
So
is why we're in the situation we're in, right?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
creates other types of problems, it
Right. There's
turns
this
out.
weird
of course.
downward spiral of quality
Yeah.
and right. Because if you're
Yeah.
giving it away for free, this is Microsoft's problem.
Well, every
right?
app has to be about taking your data then, if you're giving it away for free.
Exactly. Right. So
Yeah.
Every
Microsoft,
app's doing the same thing.
one of the
Which always to me tells me that, like, if every app is stealing, then who are you selling it to? You all have the same information.
Right.
Different quality levels, you know, different
Yeah.
fidelity amounts on the
Yep.
data.
well,
Yeah.
cross-reference the data and learn something new and novel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Immediate-
we thought, I mean, I assume the point you were making, Jason, was, you know, Microsoft like 365 or whatever, where it's like, well, they're reading everything you write.
Yes.
No.
No.
No. Where I was going was that Microsoft of the 90s, while we all hated Microsoft of the 90s, if you go back and load up a Windows 98 or a Windows 2000 machine and start like using it with like period correct software, it is really, really, really well put together.
Yes, it is.
Mhm,
No,
Like,
it's
people
timeless. Like, Word.
Cared.
Yeah.
People cared. They had a massive QA apparatus testing the stuff and making sure it worked. Now, here's another way where technology works at cross purposes to itself, right? Okay, so I have purchased the CD-ROM, right? And it shipped with a fatal flaw. It is insanely expensive for that company to then issue a new batch of CD-ROMs to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so the QA organization is the hedge against having to print another batch of software and send it out for
Right.
free.
There was
right?
financial incentive to not
Yeah.
ship
To not have to
garbage.
ship
Garbage.
another one. Yeah.
But
Yep.
now, every 2 or 3 weeks, Microsoft Office on my MacBook at work has a multi-gigabyte update.
Mhm.
Every couple of weeks, a couple of gigabytes.
Yeah. That's disgusting.
And so it's gone so far in the other direction where it's like, well, we can ship garbage because the cost of shipping a fix is basically free.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Just pick up the new one.
Right.
Well, it's the Fight Club fucking universe where it's like, well, what costs more, like shipping a defective car and paying the settlements for when people die, or
Right.
making a car that doesn't kill people. It turns out the
There's a
former is
number.
cheaper.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, incentives are wild in
Yeah.
terms of how how the incentives of corporations impact the thing that you have in front of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And like
So
the
And unpredictable, I would say. There's no one who could
yeah.
have predicted that would happen to software in general
no.
by
Right.
distributing things via broadband rather than over physical media.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think they would have predicted like changes and evolution of the mail system before they were like, "Oh yeah, no, it'll be easier, quicker, and more cost efficient to just download the program."
Yeah.
Right.
And as a result, it'll be garbage. Like,
Yeah. Oh, and also,
which is another thing
it-
Star Trek got wrong, because their software is immaculate. When was the
Right.
last time anyone argued with the computer? I mean, I've seen it a couple times, but for the most
yeah.
part, it just does what they tell it.
Right.
mean,
And when
Jesus
it
Christ.
doesn't, it's because it's like has like some like nano parasite infestation.
Yeah, like someone
like
deliberately
solar
fucked with it to make
flare.
it
Yeah.
shitty.
Yeah.
It wasn't just
Yeah.
shitty by accident.
No, it's the default is perfection. When it's broken,
Right.
we know that something's afoot.
Yeah.
Besides like communication, because I think communication is the biggest one. Like where that's what Star Trek got
Yeah.
the most right, which is like
Yeah.
because it had to, right? Because you've ship to ship, planet to planet communication. You have to dream up some way of having like wireless communication. You're gonna get some
Right.
kind
Hopefully
of
we figure that out. I don't know. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Depends how
And
we
we'll just
did,
make
but-
it a small device because otherwise it'd be obtrusive and stupid. So yes, cell phones were kind of predicted by Star Trek. Bleh. But are there any other changes? Like I think no, but also kind of like I think about medicine and how we see changes in medicine and operations, but only
Mm.
in the most basic of ways. Like we still are essentially we're still at Bones' level where he's like, why don't you just attach some leeches to them? Like like we are not at the point where you can take a pill
That
and grow a
wasn't
kidney.
Bose. You're thinking of
I'm thinking of the robot from
the robot from that Robot Chicken sketch, which was Star Wars.
Yes, that's Star Wars.
Dr. Ball. You're thinking of Dr. Ball, my friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Dr. Ball, who is basically just a joke
he's
pastiche
just
of
Bones.
Bones.
Right.
But
The
but yeah,
quote from Bones is dialysis. It's like the goddamn Middle Ages.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. Like that's yeah.
Why don't you
The
just
only-
grow a new kidney?
Right.
Now, I would say we are maybe getting to the point where you can hypothesize that we could grow a kidney within the
In a
next
lab.
20 years, 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
In the
we're not
lab
there
and
yet.
transplant it, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Right. It's still
Yeah.
they still need to cut you open. Like there's no non-invasive surgical solutions here.
No, and there never will be, because you can't just transport matter through other like that's just never going to happen. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. However, there have been miraculous advances in medicine. I mean, it is
Minimally
routine.
invasive. Yeah.
Yeah, minimally invasive,
Yep.
routine to implant a thing in your chest, which when your heart stops beating, automatically brings you back to life. That is just a thing that happens, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we'll just do one of those." Like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
I was thinking yeah.
and you would just die without it.
Right.
You would just
Instead,
be
you'd
dead,
be
because
dead.
it's like,
Yeah.
well, if you were in a hospital, they could shock you back to life, but you're never gonna always be in a hospital, so I guess you'll just die.
Yeah.
So like now you don't, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
and that's not a thing that was in Star Trek, although they would have, said that. Well, we don't even have to worry about that, because I would detect the problem, by scanning you with a tricorder when you're a baby, and know that when you're 40, your heart's going to stop beating, and
Right.
we'll just give you a pill, and then it won't happen.
That-
But like,
it-
but like how?
Star Trek is still
Okay,
like Star
so-
Trek TNG in particular. They still have surgery.
They do.
They do.
yes.
And that's actually one of the things that astounds me, like the whole like recurring plot line of like Picard's
Picard's
mechanical heart, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it just feels somewhat incongruous to the rest of the series and what we know about the
It
advancement.
does. Like,
of-
you didn't figure that out?
Oh, you mean
Right.
like when like Riker or Geordi, I'm not sure which one, broke their arm, and then Dr. Crusher goes, "Here you go," and now your arm's fixed. I'm like, so
Right.
you mean you can't that same ray doesn't
Yeah,
fix my heart?
Right.
Like I still need a robot heart? And like, yeah, but it's less relatable if like, you can just fix your problems. Like, well, I'm 60. Can you replace all my organs now? At least that's Back to the Future. Like that's Doc Brown's like, I look like I did in 1955 and 2015 because I got all my shit replaced.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. With every technology that's in Star Trek, the answer is always, well, does it serve a plot purpose for it to work that
Right.
way? If so, it's
Yeah.
going to work that way. The futuristic
Right.
part of his heart is that it's a robot heart. Not that
Yeah.
it's like perfect. If it was perfect, where's the drama? So like
Right.
there's
Well,
that
it
tension, but it's like, but also, isn't it cool that they could heal Jordy's arm? I mean, I
Right.
guess you're
Yeah.
kind of undermining the whole thing, but okay.
yeah, right?
Right.
Maybe they just shouldn't have done that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah,
But it is
the
fun, right? Like, oh,
yeah.
look at that. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, the
It's
tricorder is a thing we're still chasing.
we
A
are. And
magic
Okay.
box.
So here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
On my first Android phone, way back when people were just making interesting apps that were
Super fun,
fine,
yeah.
someone made a tricorder app on this thing.
Yes.
I remember
And
this.
it was actually really cool because it tapped into all the sensors on the phone and it showed like radio signal strength for like Wi-Fi signals. It showed magnetic field strength. It
Oh, I didn't
showed
know that. I just thought it
Yeah.
was
it
I
had
thought it was
it
just a
tapped
loop.
It stuff,
into the
yeah.
accelerometers and it like no, so it like tapped into all the sensors on the phones and like gave you like some technical readout data. I'm like, that's really cool. That's a tri.
Yeah.
So
I
these things could be tricorders, right?
They could be.
But no one cares to
Well, I'm sure
Okay,
that
well, hang on. They can show
slow
you
your roll,
some
sir.
things, but the reason why that app is not everywhere is because none of that shit is fucking useful. What does it
Okay.
matter what the electric field is where you're standing or the magnetic field?
Well,
Well,
depending on what job I have, maybe I might need to know that
maybe
information.
if I am on a planet that's not Earth and there's some weird disturbance,
Mhm.
I'll want to know that there's a fluctuating magnetic field. I don't know. It's cool.
I have my
Yeah.
watch and it has a compass on it and it does that. So like that's the thing. Like when that technology is useful, we do put it in devices. It's just not like a universal app on your phone that just does all that shit for you to look at. It's like built into something
Right.
that is like more built for purpose. Right.
Yeah.
Because
And
like
so does over time does that purpose built stuff eventually sort of filter
right.
into
Have
the
we
mainstream devices?
have we built a tricorder? It's just distributed amongst a bunch of different things. I mean,
Yeah,
we
like
have,
if
and I would say no, but we do
no.
have like portions of a tricorder, right?
Right.
Like I can't scan you and see what's wrong with your body. Like you
Yeah.
can't do
No.
that. It's not possible.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I can do certain things, right? I
Yes.
can see wavelengths of light. I can see
Pulse.
magnetic
You
field. I can
can
detect your
actually
pulse
yeah.
Mhm.
with a thing that just sits on you. So
Mhm.
there's some things we're getting there. The idea of so to me a tricorder, and I guess this is not what a tricorder is, but I think of the medical aspect.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I guess that's something different than tricorder. I don't even fucking remember.
Yeah, that's
But
right. No, because like
Well,
Crusher
Crusher
has a
has
tricorder.
like the special medical attachment
The
for the
medical
yeah, the
tricorder, yeah.
medical one thing.
Yeah.
The idea of a medical sensing device on a chip, right? Where I can put something, a drop of blood, whatever, on a chip, and it will just diagnose you. As people are chasing that, right? Like
Yes.
that is the ultimate, and that's but you can't do it, and that's what led to
Yes.
Theranos with
Theranos,
Yes,
yeah.
what's the
Theranos,
name,
yeah.
right? That's the famous example, right? Because people don't they want that, like they are
Oh, yeah.
trying, they're
Yeah, Elizabeth
trying to
Holmes.
do that.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it's preposterous. It's a concept. It's like saying that you can like drive a car the size of a basketball. Like it's
It
not
is
possible.
preposterous with today's technology. It's not preposterous in theory. In theory, you probably could do it. It's just it requires tremendous scientific advancement
That we don't have,
that we
or
don't
that
have.
certainly
Yeah.
she didn't.
Well, they yeah, definitely did not exist at the time. But technology is to the point where it was plausible to a lot of
Right.
investors that maybe you can't. And it didn't do she didn't say that it did everything like that. And I say she, it wasn't just her, but that
No, but
company, Theranos, didn't say that it could do everything, but it did say it could detect a lot with very little effort. And that's
yes, not true.
Yeah.
just not
Um,
true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Getting into
No,
Star Wars because you're wearing a shirt that says Star Wars on it.
Mhm.
It's funny. You think about Star Trek. Star Trek is science fiction. Star Wars is science fantasy. Anything that Star Wars gets right is just basically factoring into the sun even shines on a dog's ass some days. Like it's not, it's scattershot. Like Star Trek is not about making like I've seen there's at least a handful of YouTube channels who have made their bones being like, I built a real lightsaber. And I'm like, guess what?
No,
You
you
didn't,
didn't.
because they're not real. Like, it's just, and you never will. And I've seen, I've seen they're like, well, it has to be plasma and it da 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 da. And I've seen like very impressive facsimiles that that are very dangerous looking lightsabers, but it doesn't exist and
Mhm.
it never will. And it's not fair to expect one.
Yeah.
Similarly to like faster than light travel or
Yeah, it's not fair to
whatever.
expect a warp drive.
Right,
As
right.
far as
And
we
it's
know, it
like
may not even be possible. It's probably not possible,
probably not even possible. And
according
that's like kind
to
of the linchpin of everything we do in science fiction, particularly Star Trek and Star Wars.
Star Trek.
Uh,
They're both very egregious when you really get into the details from a
yeah,
physics
What
standpoint.
from a physics standpoint, what is
the
less
roadblock.
plausible? No, what's less
Mm.
plausible? Warp drive or transporters?
I knew you were going to say those two because those are the two least plausible, and that is a very hard question to
Well,
answer.
it depends. I think it depends on which transport. If you're talking about the transporters that Ethan believes in, I think that's much more possible than warp,
The one
because
that kills you.
the one that kills you and replicates you in the other room.
Oh,
Like
that's fine. Yeah.
it
Right.
melts you and then makes a clone of you over there. Again, though, you can't copy memories and put them into a thing that has a fully grown body. Like, that's just
Right.
impossible.
Right.
Uh, it's hard, okay, because they're both implausible, but in really different ways. So the best idea we have about warp travel is that the theoretical ideas about how you might do it involve, warping space in front of you and then like riding this like wave. They all have problems with like paradoxes, and violating like known laws of physics. But even if you assume that you can get around that, they tend to require fantastical amounts of energy to work. And when I
Yeah.
say fantastical, I don't mean like, oh, so you mean like using antimatter, which they do in Star Trek? I'm like, no, we know how antimatter works and we know how much energy it could produce. And like, no, you need to convert the mass of Jupiter into pure energy, and then you might be able to sustain a bubble of exotic matter, which may or may not exist, that can keep the vehicle inside, that's the size of a person, maybe one or two people, open and move it from here to there. Like, that's the scale of the difficulty of the problem. You basically need unlimited energy to do it.
Right.
um
So
really unlimited, like really not like unlimited like, oh, we could power every city in the world. Like, no, like a million times that much.
like you have, like the Romulan ship, where it's like they have a miniature singularity in the
Yeah.
bowels of their ship.
Yes, which is cool. That's a
Okay.
cool idea, because like, yeah, that's okay.
It
maybe
certainly
you can get
beats
a lot of energy.
trilithium.
It does.
all right, so unlimited energy. It's interesting because that is one of like the sort of precepts of the Trek universe, is that it's in a post energy scarcity society,
Yeah.
right? And
Which I don't know how
wonder,
they do. Solar, lots of solar. I don't know. What do they?
I, I,
What are their power plants in Star Trek?
I it does not serve the plot of the episode, Ethan. It doesn't matter.
You blue screen him.
But
Like,
I
what?
wonder, I wonder if through green energy initiatives and harnessing things like the sun and the wind, if we can start to approach that, right? Because continuing to burn dead dinosaurs is not sustainable. Clearly,
No, we're gonna run out of dinosaurs.
Right.
so
So
quickly. So I wonder if bringing those things that are also into being more economical, and the larger the investment, the cheaper it gets, right?
right.
Mhm.
So
Do we get to that point of being post energy scarcity at
yes.
some point,
Yes.
assuming we can turn off all of the 10 gigawatt AI data centers? But
you could even do the 10 gigawatt anyway.
well,
So
at a certain
so
point,
the question of
Yeah.
like, can you get to energy past energy scarcity? Yes. Will that help you get to warp drive? No. So they're two, because the order of magnitude is
sure.
totally different.
I wasn't
You're
suggesting
trying to
that.
do a different question. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just sort of
I do
it just
think, yeah,
triggered this idea that
I do think energy
Yeah.
scarcity
That's
can be made a thing of the past. If you look at the rate at which solar power has decreased in like cost per like
Mhm.
gigawatt generated.
Mhm.
It's over the last 50 years or 20 years, it's fantastical.
Yeah.
And it's already the cheapest. Solar power is already the cheapest power source
Yeah.
to do at scale, as long as you have like a reasonable amount of sunlight, and getting to the point where it's even in like where we live, the cheapest. The problem is just manufacturing physically enough solar cells, right? There's
Yeah.
huge demand for solar cells, but when you do make it, it's very cheap.
Mm.
So absolutely, you can get to a post scarcity world in our lifetime. You have to try. You have to have that as a goal. You have to also not waste tremendous amounts of power, right? Because
Mm.
if it's and the problem is that these are self-reinforcing. So if you make power super cheap,
Right.
then people will waste it. So
Right.
it's a hard thing to do to really make something free, because as soon as you make it free, everyone consumes more and more and more of it and is not efficient at all, and so then it won't be free anymore, because then you need to build more power plants and that costs more money. So it's a hard problem to solve economically, but in theory there's no reason, like the amount of solar energy that comes from the sun, I think I read somewhere that you could take a patch of the Sahara Desert, and if you look at it on a map, it's like 1/100th of the entire Sahara Desert. If you converted it to solar panels, you would power the entire world. Like, it is
Wow.
just not that much on the scale of the whole planet
Right.
Yeah.
to power our
But
current civilization.
but
Hmm.
that takes a global initiative, right?
Right.
That
It does.
talks about a societal shift towards a global society.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to use the Sahara Desert, yes, that's just an
Mhm.
example, though, right? Like, you wouldn't use the Sahara Desert to power the United States, right? You would
Sure.
use Arizona.
Yes,
Right.
you use it in a Nevada desert.
Right? Yeah, you'd use, and not every place has places like that,
That
and so
kind of
you
space.
have
Yeah.
to figure out how to transport power,
Right.
but not
Yes.
across the whole world, right? Like, you do it
Sure, you can do
regionally.
it
So,
regionally. Sure.
right,
Absolutely.
Africa would be powered by the Sahara Desert, and maybe Europe, right? And
Mm.
you'd put these high voltage lines across the Mediterranean
Oh, you
Sea.
mean instead of pipelines?
Yeah, and they do that. I mean, they export. I believe that power is already being exported to Italy from Africa, I think,
Hmm.
or it's planned. So, like, these kinds of things are possible and are happening. However, you do need a lot of infrastructure investment to get it done. And in the U.S., I don't know if you guys remember, under Obama, there was a big infrastructure investment
Yes.
concept of
Yep.
building these big DC,
Yeah.
direct current power lines across the country, because direct current is much more useful way to transport power that comes from like a solar power plant.
Mhm.
And the idea was, we'll build the solar power plants in the desert where there's lots of sun. We'll
Yeah.
build these big DC lines across the country to more efficiently transport that power to areas that don't have a lot of sun. Like,
Yeah.
that's the grid of the future. But that takes tremendous, tremendous government investment.
Right.
It would pay dividends in the long run, but where do you come up with the cash in the meantime? So, like,
Yeah.
yes, technically, post scarcity power is technically possible, but it is practically quite difficult to achieve with the way we do things now.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you
So-
mean with a data mining billionaire forward society? Yeah.
Right.
By the way, Star Trek powers most of their stuff through vacuum or 0 point energy.
No.
What the hell does that even mean? Vacuum energy?
Yes, it's an underlying background energy, according to Wikipedia, that exists in space throughout the entire universe. It's a special case of 0 point energy that relates to quantum vacuum.
Yeah, that's based on
Yeah.
real stuff. It's you can't.
That
You can't. I'm
was
sorry.
I'm
gonna
just
say
saying
that-
that's where
that
Star
sounds-
Wars, that's where Star Trek gets most of their energy.
that sounds made up.
It's the idea of harnessing. Okay, so vacuum. Oh God, vacuum
No,
energy
stop.
is a real thing, but the idea of
No.
harnessing it is
Impossible.
implausible.
Yeah.
Maybe, but not anytime soon.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that sounds made up for Star Trek, because we all see on the ship that we have antimatter
Yes,
intermixed
antimatter.
chambers
Yeah.
focused through right,
Which is
like,
much more plausible than
Yeah.
tapping the vacuum energy. Okay, antimatter is a real thing. We actually
Mhm.
can make it in very small
That's
quantities.
well, that's how starships are powered, is by
Yes.
antimatter. But yeah.
Yeah, and it is not crazy insane to think that we could manufacture sufficient quantities of antimatter to power a spaceship within the next 100 years. It would require a lot of advancements, but it's
Mhm.
not the craziest thing. It's really
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Hmm.
Whether you're going to power civilization that way, probably not, because space travel has some unique attributes where it's like, well, in order to do space travel well, you need a very dense energy source.
Right.
That doesn't mean a cheap energy source, because
Right.
you've got to send this mass over there, you got to put it up into space, and you need to carry your energy with you. So there's a premium on it being very dense, which is why we fuel cars with gasoline, because gasoline is
Mhm.
very energy dense, right? And we have to
Right.
carry it with us in the car. So a spaceship has a very good reason to use antimatter. On Earth, there is no reason to use
Yeah.
antimatter to power anything, because there's so many other cheaper, easier ways to power things.
Make one bold science fiction prediction for the next 50 years. 2075. What's a big change? Like the biggest, not the biggest, for you, your vision of the future, the way we're heading. What's your
Do
idea?
you do you want an answer that is about like how it would impact like normal people's lives, or do you want like
Right, as opposed to
space travel type
like
stuff?
quantum computing. I think like what we
Because
would
like
be
I could
able
say
to
there might be like a
quantify
base on
today.
Mars, but who cares?
Mm.
That's something. I'd take a base on Mars.
Okay, all right.
I don't want one necessarily, but like, not that I don't want
I
one,
mean,
but it's
when I
more
say
like
who cares, I care. I think that would be cool. But I mean,
deeply, yeah.
does
But
that
like,
really affect most people? It doesn't.
no, not at
So
all, not at all. But it does. It does change. I think in a subtle way for people. Like for the longest time, we say you can put a man on the moon, but you can't make my shoes smell good. But now it's like we have a base on Mars, but I
right.
still
Could
can't
that
make a
be the
left turn in
new
New
we could put a
Jersey.
man on Mars? That would have an impact, because people would change their
Their
like analogies
perspective.
and their
Well, their analogies, but also their perspective, because like
yeah.
they're aware of it enough to be
There's a new
like
ceiling. Yeah.
things are changing.
Mhm.
Exactly. And even though like maybe every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there wouldn't necessarily see that as an opportunity to advance, their brain did like subtly, you know,
It's an
they reached a
interesting
little further.
question. I'm gonna think for a minute.
And I want to say 50 years because like 20
50 is a
years.
good.
Because it's frustrating to say how little has changed in 25 years.
Mhm.
Arguably, everything is pretty much worse than it was. Uh,
I mean, TVs are super cheap now. I can get a 80-inch TV for way cheaper than even 10 years
an
ago.
80
So,
inch an 80-inch TV that is the like width of a postage stamp. Like
yeah,
its depth, that is. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Lucky us. And I can watch all the shit that I used to watch 25 years ago on it.
yeah. And it looks way better, but I also didn't even care 20 years ago that it looked
How good it
100
looked. I was
times
just
worse.
enjoying it.
I just
Yeah.
enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will tell you this, like, as a kid, like, as a teenager, I had a big, ugly CRT television on top of my dresser that was connected to, like, a camcorder that ran VHS tapes that I had run into it as a VCR, and my advancement for technology was I took floor to mid height speakers and put them behind my headboard so I could watch
Mhm.
Star Wars really loud in my bed.
Nice.
Temporarily. That was not like a full-blown thing. That was something where it's like, I bet I could do this. I did a lot of that back then. I bet I could get
Hmm.
away with this. And then I tested it out. Sometimes it was success, sometimes it was a failure, but that's the human condition. Jason, what would you like to see change?
Or what do you think would change?
Uh,
Yeah,
Let's
what
be
do you
realistic.
think? What's your prediction? What's your bold prediction
Wow. I
that people
mean,
can quantify? That like you could,
yeah, this is a really hard question.
It is very
Yeah.
hard. I mean, this is one of the hardest questions
I've been
anyone
asked.
could ask of anybody. I
Right.
mean, there's nobody who's good at this.
Yeah. What do you what
How
what
many
what do you?
people? How many people 50 years ago, when asked this question, gave the right answer? Very
Right. Oh,
few.
very few. But that's
Right.
the point of
Okay.
it,
Okay.
right? Like,
Okay. Ready, guys? Flying cars.
oh no.
Okay,
You can
all right,
barely
let's
have
quantify
driving
it.
cars.
How many flying car? Like, what percentage of the
We are
population do you think will have a flying car 50 years from now?
less than
'Cause it
one.
won't be zero.
Less than
Really?
1%.
You think
I
there'll
mean,
be?
the flying
You
cars
think?
are a thing now,
Yeah.
so
No,
it's
we have flying
it's just
cars.
that they're fantastically expensive and they're deeply impractical, but they do exist. So, like,
Yeah. No, Jason's actually on something because we do have flying cars, and I think that they will only get better for
Okay,
the
okay,
handful of
hold
people who
on,
can manipulate them.
hold on. How about this? Rather than a flying car, an actual like paradigm shift of transportation systems.
Yes, yes, like a light
To
rail.
what?
Like
Well, so that's interesting, right? Because we are, at least in American culture, right, we are obsessed with individual point-to-point
Yeah,
transportation,
personal travel. Yeah.
personal
yes.
transportation,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So, but what if you had mass transit systems that didn't suck?
Yes.
But is
You
that a
mean like they have in
technology
Japan?
problem or is it a cultural problem?
Uh,
Right. Yeah.
right. So yeah. So it's like,
It's
well, you mean
it's
here or like in Japan?
Right.
Right.
right,
It's very
because mass
confused.
transit in Japan is
Like, will we
But at
awesome.
the
will we
same time,
ever have
doesn't that
mass transit in the US? That's good. And
I mean,
some
Right.
people might say, well, we don't have any reason to because our population density is so much lower than Japan that you don't have the economies of scale
Right.
that they have with their transit. So it just
yeah,
doesn't
but
make
at
as
the
much
same
sense here.
time, if Japan had I mean, we threw the Concorde away.
Right.
Like,
The
I
Concorde had
rest
a
my
lot of
case.
problems, but yeah.
It had some problems, but it wasn't it wasn't the same level that, like,
Turns out
we
sonic
live
booms
with.
are really disruptive to people's
But didn't they
lives.
just fix that?
NASA's working on something to try to fix it. Yes,
Like, didn't we just see, like,
it's an extraordinarily difficult engineering problem to solve. It turns out.
yes. And
It
yes, and apparently it is disruptive. Like, it's a real problem to have, like, just sonic booms happening all over the
Yes,
place.
that's
But
why it went from New York. It went from one city
to
to one
LA
other
or to
city,
London.
and
Yeah,
it
that's
mostly traveled over the ocean
Ocean. Yep.
because no one is in the ocean to
right, but
bother.
that's fine.
Right.
That's still good. I'll take that. Come on.
But that's very
But
limiting. If you could only run one route in the whole world, like who's going to buy that airplane?
I'm just saying, but the
Also,
point
it's very
being,
expensive, and
but wouldn't
anyway,
you
yeah.
argue, like, my point being, like,
Okay, so here's one.
okay.
I don't think we're gonna. Oh, God damn it! Let me just fix the camera before I go. Why would
Is
you
it you
bother?
point at it? Is that what happens when you
It's when he
point
does
at it?
this. It's when he goes,
Is
"This
it?
was one thing."
No, it's some kind of push in or something. I'll figure it out afterwards. Why would you bother with the Concorde when SpaceX is building a site-to-site spaceship, which will
Yes.
be many times faster than
No,
Concorde?
I'm not
Sure.
saying resurrect the Concorde. I'm saying we
Right.
shouldn't have shuttered it in the first place. We'd be better off if there was, like, if we were
Who
making
would be
faster.
better off?
I think
Were you
I think
gonna fly Concorde, Sal? Do you know how much a ticket on the Concorde cost?
well, but wouldn't it have been nice if we, like, fixed, ironed out some of the problems? And, like, my point is, like, it's similar to the Japan problem, where it's like, if Japan figured out, like, you know a way of traversing, cities via train in a way that doesn't squish the user but also manages to shorten the time frame. You know what I mean? Like, if we had, like, light rail systems, or they had light rail systems that are just, I mean, they already do, right? Because I remember when we unveiled the new Acela system recently, and they were like, ladies and gentlemen, it goes 8 miles per hour faster than it did before, and it only costs you $100 more a ticket. So,
Mhm.
I'm ready to take my thank yous. Nobody, because nobody, like, wants to ride the train anyway, because people are because they're urinating next to you. But
Well, not on a Acela, but yeah.
no, not an Acela, but it's
Acela's
just,
very expensive.
but Amtrak is the same crap, but it's just, like, prohibitively expensive for no good reason. But, like, outside of the fact that nobody uses it, and that's why they have
That's a
to
big
increase
problem,
costs.
yeah.
But, like, yeah, but wouldn't it inspire / frustrate the populace? Like, commuters, right? They're like, I'm miserable, I'm angry, I'm frustrated. I get in my stupid car, I gotta pay my stupid insurance, I gotta pay my stupid premiums, I gotta deal with my stupid repairs. And meanwhile, in Japan, they're whooshing all over the place. Like, if we make it so it's, like, almost scientific, like sci-fi, like,
Mhm.
in other places where it's like,
Like like
yeah,
like Futurama tubes.
like Futurama tubes, like pneumatic
Yeah.
tubes.
I mean,
They're
we
whooshing all over the place, and
we
they're
do
in
that.
10 minutes,
We do that.
and
So,
the American population goes, "Hey, where's ours?" And
yeah,
they start
yeah.
demanding of their
So
of their
I'm going to give
stick.
you an example, right?
Yeah.
The Washington D.C. subway system, when it was
Yes.
unveiled, was billed as a technological wonder.
Mhm.
If you've ever been in it, it looks very different from almost any subway system in the U.S. There's
Yeah.
these giant
Really?
cavernous stations.
Yeah, no, I love them.
It's very cool,
Yeah.
right? It was originally designed to be even cooler because the trains were supposed to be robotically controlled. There was not supposed to be uh,
Mm.
actual like engineers driving the trains. very efficient, right? You don't have to employ
Yeah.
as many people. Yeah, they threw that away like right away. Even though the technology existed to do it, there was enough problems with it that just like wasn't like worth it.
Feasible.
And
Yeah.
as a result, but it was billed as like, oh, this is very technologically advanced, right?
Yes.
And they put effort into the physical appearance of it to make it look cool.
Futuristic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The stations look cool when you're in them. And I do
Yeah.
think that is important, and that is a part of making these things getting adoption up,
Yeah.
right? Apple proves
Right.
this, right?
Oh,
With
yes.
their user interfaces and their designs as being very sleek, and it matters. Like that gets people to actually get the thing.
Yeah.
You also pay a premium for it, though. That is expensive. And
Yeah.
so when you have, and so Android went a different direction and it's like, well, I don't even care. Make whatever you want. Use our operating system. And so you have all these manufacturers making like really cheap devices, but that's what most of the world uses. Most of the world doesn't use iPhones. America's a little weird, but you can imagine why the premium expensive device is more popular in the wealthiest country on earth.
Right.
Right. So there's a trade-off is what I'm saying to make it look really cool and futuristic. Like
Yeah.
money and effort has to go into that. And when dollars are scarce, what's the first thing to go? Aesthetics.
Yes.
Right.
So it's not that you can't do that. And maybe that is what the transportation of the future in the US will look like. I'm skeptical because we're unwilling to pay a little bit extra for government funded things
for
here.
anything.
Yeah. Which is frustrating. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also
I think,
so the other big problem that we have that Japan doesn't have is that I don't actually know how their rails are funded, right? So I can't speak too much on this, but I do know that it is commercially much more viable to run a train system in Japan than it is here. So they could have a completely commercial, barely supported by the government system, and they're going to make way more money per mile of track than you could possibly make in the US just because our people are more spread out. You have to build more track to reach as many people here as you do in Japan, which is why the only commercially viable long haul routes in the United States are the Northeast Corridor, which is the most densely populated part of the US.
Of course,
so it's a big fundamental problem that we have. Most people know this problem by now, but there's not a good answer to it. Just because you understand the problem doesn't mean you can really solve it. It's
but it doesn't mean
devilish.
it's unsolvable.
No, it doesn't mean it's unsolvable. It's hard to solve. It's very hard to solve. It takes political capital, I would say, to get things like this done, and nobody has much of that these days in the US.
Yeah.
Right.
My prediction, if you will, for 50 years from now is I think we will be in a position where you can. This is based on nothing, by the way. It's just
okay. Go. Let's see
I think we will have organ growth, like full organ replacement therapy. Like I think that either it'll be like an injection into pre-existing organs, or more likely outside lab grown organs that replace what you have. I think that like that is closer than light travel. But certainly
I would
within
agree.
50 years. I think
closer
like,
than light travel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm basing this on like very anecdotal data that is very like layman, like just by the leaps and bounds of like hip replacement surgery that we've seen. I mean, it's completely night and day.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
not
we're
about,
already replacing components.
Yeah. But I think that I think we're at a point where we can. I mean, I've seen like organ scaffolding, like where it's like using cells like around like the shape of a liver to grow to encourage. But like I don't know much about that development right now. I remember seeing that example like I want to say 10 years ago. So we're clearly not any closer. But like I think in 50
we're
years
closer. We're closer.
Yeah,
they make progress on it all the time.
I think in 50 years, if you like. An option on the table will be, we'll just grow you a new heart. The question is whether you'll survive whether you'll live long enough for it to be completed,
and whether you can afford it.
And of course, well, that goes without saying. But we're talking in a little bit of a utopian system let's say optimistic system, where it's
post-scarcity society where everything's cheap because robots make everything.
In 50 years, a lot of problem people will be dead. Now they'll be replaced by even worse people.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, new problem.
But I think that they will also like. I don't know. I think that a lot of the problem people we have today were problems 40 years ago. And So
I
maybe
feel
we'll
like
see
that's
it.
a constant of the world, but
Yes.
maybe.
Yeah.
I certainly think that you're right. I do think there will be organs grown in 50 years. I think there could be organs grown
Oh, I think
in
now,
20
but I
years.
think I think if one is rich enough, although I know rich people who have like biological problems and it isn't a non-issue,
Mhm.
you know,
Oh,
like
yeah. I mean,
issues where I'm
you're
like
still
that's
gonna
insane, but
die.
that's still a problem. Oh
Like,
yeah,
we
no, you're
can't
still gonna.
stop you from dying because it's just there's too many things that
Yeah, no,
you
Right.
know?
right, exactly. We can
But
replace
maybe
the
we
whole
can
damn
stop you
thing, and then
from
you get
dying.
skin cancer. Like the end of the.
Yeah, and that's like, well, it's everywhere all at once.
Yeah,
I can't replace your whole body,
right.
like, just physically, mechanically,
Yeah, and you don't want to get like uploaded to the system. Trust me, you'll go
Well,
insane.
that someone could plausibly suggest that in 50 years you might be able to
Yeah.
download your consciousness into a computer. That's not crazy. I wouldn't say like, "What?" I'd be like,
No,
"No,
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that."
they can not download, copy.
Well, that's all downloading is.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, but people
Downloading
don't
is
understand.
not moving
They
a
think
thing
they're
from one place to
here. I
another.
go into the computer. No, 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 no. You're gonna die. But there'll be another you over there that someone will forget about.
If you have a sufficiently metaphysical viewpoint on things, you might say, "Well, but
Well,
what am I anyway?
yeah,
Am
you
I
and I
really
differ
just the
on that.
meat of my body? No, I'm something more than that. So that thing will be over there as well, and
Yeah.
I will
Oh, don't
continue.
worry. We'll have a
I will.
soul. We'll have a soul hose that'll also connect to the computer.
No, it's just that if you recreate me over there, I will
And
also
I'm
be
me
over
over there.
there at the same
Yes.
time, metaphysically
Right.
somehow.
Right.
Right.
Amy.
I would say if you're a dualist, it could be maybe my soul will find it. Maybe my soul will, split over there and be over
Yeah.
there or jump or be in both places at once. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, the
Right.
soul can do many things.
Or
Who cares?
or
Yeah.
or not. Maybe trying to perfect that technology is what finally gets us to a true understanding of the human soul.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because
it gets
like
us to the point of there is no soul. In which case it doesn't matter. Why do you even care?
right, set off the nukes. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, what if hard determinism is a thing for those of you who are philosophically bent and everything it's all just billiard balls, atoms and molecules moving in response to the movement of prior atoms and molecules. There's no such thing as free will. Everything's predetermined. Everything's just following, the path it was always going to follow from the beginning of time. In which
Yeah.
case, who even cares? If you are replicated over there and then the
Yeah.
real you, whatever that is
atomized.
dies,
Yeah.
well, it was always going to happen, so who cares? You could stop it.
Did you see the headline that was basically saying that the theory that we are in a simulation has pretty much been proven wrong?
I haven't
They're
seen
like,
that.
we're
I've
not in
seen.
like basically like popular physics suggests like no folks we are not in a simulation.
I saw something that was looking at it from like a computational
Yeah,
perspective,
that's
and it
what I
was
saw.
like
Yeah,
the problem is like the amount of computation that would be required to simulate a
would
full
be
reality
incalculable.
would necessarily be more than would exist in that reality, or something like that. It was something where it's like a mathematically impossible.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't say that it. I'd have to reread it, but I wouldn't say that
that it's
necessarily
bunked. Yeah,
disproves the idea that we're in a simulation, but I think it may have disproved someone's specific theory of how we might be in a simulation.
I
And they
see.
said
I
like,
see.
well, if you take that as your framework, actually that doesn't work. I can't disprove every possible we're in a simulation framework, but I did disprove like that one. That's
Exactly.
my recollection, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
But you have to be careful with those kinds of things, right? That everyone wants to say, I proved we're in a simulation. I proved that's impossible. I prove very rarely is that
Yeah.
real.
No.
Usually they're talking about a very specific thing that they have proven or
Yeah.
disproven, or a subset of something.
Right.
Right.
Jason, did you have your theory yet?
Oh,
50 years.
I talked about transportation. That was that too much of a cop out?
Well, what specifically? Give
well,
me one
so,
thing.
yeah,
Like
I guess,
like most of us would use
Cars,
trains.
trains.
yeah.
Or
I mean, give me some like clean, fast, efficient floating trains over
yeah,
my neighborhood.
Maglev trains.
So you think it would be routine, let's say, for a person to use the train as much in the future as we use a car now?
Do I think that I hope that in some ways, because I think about work culture and I think about commuting culture, right? And how it's a death sentence to your soul, right?
Yeah,
Like getting into your steel box every day and driving a half hour to an hour so you can go stare at a screen,
in
a
another
different
box.
a
Yeah.
different screen in a different room, right, is nonsense. So I don't know. Does that whole paradigm start to break down at some point? I would hope that.
I mean,
Yeah,
some people would say
we
it already did. I work from home 4 days a week.
Exactly, but,
well,
like,
that's lucky
and
for
it should have
you,
been changed years ago, but, like,
right?
you know.
I think that's not it's not a
I
bad
think
thing to think about, but here I'm gonna throw a monkey wrench into it because you're assuming that work in 50 years is gonna be even remotely like it is now, and I
Mhm.
yeah.
think there's gonna be very few people who are even gonna have that problem to solve.
Oh my god.
So you think no one's gonna have a job? Is that what you're
No, I
saying?
think people will have jobs, but I think there
Well,
won't be the
it'll be digging
need.
ditches for the rest of us, like
I think
Right.
it will seem absurd to get in your car and drive over there to do why would I do my work over there? What's over there?
Well, I
What's
think we're
different
already
about
there. It's just that, like, well, and your issue has always been like the reason why we even have this like artificial preservation of of the pre-COVID system is because people owe a lot of money on the land they bought, and so since they can't get out of their friggin' mortgages or whatever, like they can't get out of the leases that they're in
Yeah,
for these corporate parks, that they're just insisting on that. I always maintained that it was ego, that it was just like, how
it
do
is
I know if
that
I'm the
too.
boss? I'm not surrounded by
It's
people that are
it's
telling me
absolutely that
how
too,
great I
yeah.
am.
It's
No.
But
many
like,
things. It's the combination of many things,
yeah,
I
but
would
there's
say.
other ways of stroking your ego than having that. I think it has everything. It's always money. For me, it's always money. Money is like the number one reason why anytime you ever see anybody do something just inexplicable, think, how would that behavior make them more money? And that you
Right,
immediately
or
figure
save
out
them
what the
money.
problem is. Like, yeah, or save the money. You're like, ah, I figured out why they're such a weirdo.
Right.
And it's just
Yeah.
always the principle. Like, but
Pretty much, I would say it usually is, or at least
it
their
factors in.
impression of what would make them the most money, because people are wrong a lot about that.
Yes.
So it's not the case that that it is actually true, right? That is the way for these people to make the most money. But I would say, yeah, if you look at what people perceive as in their best interests from a monetary perspective, it does explain
Yeah.
a lot
Right.
of the
But once, I
world.
mean, like the reality is like a lot of these office parks that like they do owe money on, like they're gonna, they're gonna have to stop.
Yeah, I mean, so I want to say I do have a slightly nuanced perspective on this. There is value in face-to-face interaction
Yeah.
No,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
without a
Yeah.
screen in
That's
between.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I think I think nobody has it right, or the people who have a more mixed interpretation are the ones who have it right. The people who say that they're just slacking off and they don't want to work, and the people who say it's insane for me to go to the office. There's no reason to do that. You're all wrong. You need sort of a middle ground. But
Mhm.
but my thing, my prediction that it'll seem insane to commute to New York is because the types of jobs we're going to have there'll still be value in going to work, but you're not going to go that far
Right.
because the jobs they're not going to be necessary for survival.
Mhm.
I think in 50 years, maybe this is my prediction. I think in 50 years we will have automated human survival. The
Mm.
processes that lead to people living, food, shelter, um, water, sanitation, medical care. I think all of this will be so heavily automated that there won't be anything for people to do that they have to do. The things you will do will be things that will improve people's quality of life.
That's a very Roddenberryan vision of the future
Yeah,
because I mean,
it's
like that's
beautiful. I
once.
like it.
I mean, like
Yeah.
that would that's a more optimistic vision than I would have
Well,
given you credit for.
the problem is it's not, because I don't think we're gonna make a lot of money doing those things,
Well, that's
and
you need to eliminate money in order for that to
I
work.
think we're gonna work because if you don't work, you go insane.
Yes.
And so we're going to work. We're going to make very little money at these jobs because they won't be worth much. We'll be existing on government handouts. We'll have to have some kind of tax scheme that fantastically taxes the two corporations that own all the robots that grow all the food and build all the houses. and we'll just have to get by with table scraps. And our
Ah.
jobs will be like hobbies, right? It's just things to keep us busy or to keep ourselves busy. And there'll just be no reason to go over there because, well, it's not even generating value anyway. So
Yeah.
why would I go to New York? You know, I could just go to the office down the street and do my stupid busy work
Yeah.
that the government created for me to keep me busy.
You know what that is? That's the Jetsons.
Which was a commentary on that type of lifestyle that people were
What
living
does George
then.
Jetson do? He goes to where he commutes to work to push a button.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think we'll do that. It's just that, well, why would you go to work? Why would you drive an hour to do that? I could drive 15 minutes and push a button.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'll do.
Right.
They'll make it as easy as possible for you, is what I'm
Well, that's
saying.
the case. They'll just put the buttons in the houses. I mean, like, why would
I
you
mean,
go
maybe,
anywhere?
but they'll say that, well, you need to collaborate in order
Right.
to get the most effective button pushing. And they'll find that people are much happier when they go to
When
work
they're
and they
doing it in a
interact
group.
with people because it's social exercise and
Yeah.
you know, we are social animals, right? So
Yeah.
there'll be all
Wow.
this research that shows that like this is what makes people the happiest.
I like how this went from this like really interesting vision into this just like dystopian nightmare. Thank you,
Yeah.
Ethan.
Yeah,
for
well,
that-
you made
that
assumptions
turn
about
around, that quick trial out of time,
yeah.
going the other direction.
You're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Isn't it
Don't get the wrong
interesting?
idea.
Isn't it
Yeah, it's
interesting
gonna suck. Just
how you only
be
have to
clear.
change a little bit in order to
go
s-
from
the idea that I presented to turn it from like your assumption of a utopia to a dystopia. It's
Yeah.
almost identical. There's just a key fundamental difference. And it's who owns everything. That's the difference, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Maybe it won't happen, you know.
Well,
Maybe Roddenberry was right. I hope so.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
Roddenberry wasn't even right about what made Star Trek interesting.
Well,
yeah.
he was arguably right for his time.
He
but
was right for his
didn't-
time, but then like TNG, he's like, no conflict, no interpersonal conflict. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's like, well, that
What?
makes a boring show.
yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like if Roddenberry was giving you a vision, a social interpretation of the future, that's different from writing a goddamn television show that entertains regular people.
What does that say about us?
Oh yeah.
That we
Well-
need conflict in order to bother.
Well, you know what that says? That says that The Matrix has always been a more prescient movie than we ever gave it credit for in the 90s. I remember in the 90s we were like, this is friggin' silly, and every year it gets more and more relevant. And I'm like,
It does.
that's too bad because I don't really love. I like The Matrix, but it's not my favorite. But then again, I'm very thankful we're not in like the Blade Runner future, but we're getting there.
Here's a question. My last thing.
Yeah.
In the Matrix, it's we picked this year the peak of your civilization, which was of course the year that
99.
the Matrix was made.
Yes.
What year do you think it would be in retrospect? Now, from 2025 perspective, would it be still 1999? Would it be a different
Yeah.
year? What year would they pick for the Matrix? What year will the
2000.
robots pick?
It would be pre 9/11.
Pre
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
No,
Absolutely.
no 99. They were right. Like
mhm.
that was the right time. They
They
inadvertently
had no idea how right they
had
were.
no idea how right they were.
Isn't
Right,
that
'cause it has to be
interesting?
pre-9/11.
That's what an American you are. You know, if you were from China, you would
Yeah.
never say that they picked the perfect time because you wouldn't care, right,
Yeah.
about 9/11.
Right.
But
Right.
For an American, absolutely, there's no question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for an American who was alive then anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
someone born after that would say like,
Oh yeah, no, they'd say
Old
2019 or 2015. They'd probably say 2015.
probably, yeah,
Most people would probably
Yeah,
say
yeah.
2015 if you're talking about like
Right.
the world.
yeah.
But you know, because then YouTube still existed. But
Tell us in the comments down below. What year would you pick if you were the robots
the
building the
machines
Matrix?
picked the peak of your civilization. They picked a time when you wouldn't ask questions.
Yeah, when you're like, this is pretty good. It's probably not going to get much better than this.
Yeah. I got to tell you, yeah,
mean-
it's 99 was pretty good, but
Yeah. I think there's
it
also
only got better.
Yeah, I think there's also an argument to be made for the late 60s, 1968, 1969, as just
Yeah.
sort of, again, an American-centric thing, right? Is like,
A white
was
American centric.
Also a
thing,
white
yes.
guy centric thing. Jason's like, fuck you.
oh, okay, fine. All right, never mind.
Yeah.
I was talking to
No,
I was
no.
talking to
You're
my
talking about
old
from
my
like a
old
hope perspective and an
Yes,
optimistic
thank you.
perspective.
Yes,
Okay.
hope,
yeah, literally
optimism,
my
going
I
to the
was,
moon, right?
we were,
Yeah.
This is a
I
big
was talking
thing.
to one of my
Okay, if we look at society, if we look at the
the late
dominant,
60s.
let's
You're
say the
right.
dominant cultural perspective
Right.
of the
Mhm.
United States, uh, was that perspective more happy and
Mhm.
optimistic in the 60s? Yeah.
Yeah, pre
Yeah,
JFK
well,
assassination, 100%.
yeah, well,
Yes.
I think
Well,
even so, right? Things were trending towards
Like
like people were
progress.
fighting for equality, and
mhm.
things were trending in that direction, very positive direction.
Yeah. Yes.
Um,
There was a very narrow window, right,
Yes,
yeah,
where you could imagine that,
an
well, the
optimistic future.
people are standing up and fighting for
yeah,
what's right. And you could, even if you were not a white person, you could imagine that in the not too distant future, we're going to turn this around.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, no. Remember, the point was like what felt good at the time, not what happened. Right.
correct.
right. Not
So
what
Correct.
what
Not what
they're
we know happened afterwards. Yeah.
exactly.
instead. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Plus, the music was pretty good.
Yeah.
Art
And
from adversity.
industrial design was off the hook. I mean,
Oh my god, yes, yeah.
Uh,
We that's been, I wouldn't say peak, but it's certainly,
yeah, one of the high
top
points
three.
of
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we can all agree it would not be the 70s. I think
No,
that's,
No.
the
there were
'70s
some
was
nice
a
things about the 70s, but
it was a dour time. Gas rations, Nixon, New York,
Yeah.
the music, disco,
Yeah.
disco, yeah.
bad time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure that the '70s, because I'm happy to say none of us were there, it was just a cloud of cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
It was just
Hanging over every
foggy.
town. Yeah.
It was just,
Certainly
yeah.
every restaurant you walked into
Oh
was
my
like
god.
that.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah. I
that in the
mean,
90s. I remember
yeah,
Yep.
you went to
Yep.
the no smoking section and it was like, but it's
but
the
it's
smoke goes
everywhere.
wherever it wants.
This is a Wendy's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going bowling and then going out to the diner afterwards, and it was like you smack. It's like you smoked 3 packs. I mean,
It
Yeah,
was.
it's like
It
you're a
literally
smoker.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. I'm surprised that everyone who wasn't born, everyone who was born in the '80s doesn't have emphysema, just from secondhand smoke alone.
Give it time.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was so. I remember you can still find them some places where you go into like the bathroom stall, right? And there's like an ashtray in the stall.
Yeah.
You're like,
Like,
wow.
dude, you're taking a deuce.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Society, I think you might have a problem.
Or like,
yeah.
but you sit in like a Cadillac from 1985, and
Oh my
there's
God,
an
there's a-
ashtray for every. There's like seven.
Every
the car
person gets it
seats,
at
The whole car was
6
smoking.
people. There's 9
six
ashtrays.
ashtrays.
Right? I mean,
9 ashtrays.
There's more ashtrays than there are now cup holders in cars.
that's right.
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
more ashtrays
There's
than there
a
were
lot of
seats in the
cup
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
well,
my
you got to
God.
be what some people are left-handed, some people are right-handed. You got to
Yeah,
cover
you
every base.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. What if you're double fisting your cigarettes?
It's-
My thing as a kid, I remember my dad got a lot of old cars that were definitely unsafe for me to be in. And I would like look in the ashtray and I'm like, how do you collect the ash? Like,
Yeah,
how do you
get it out of
clean
there?
these out? Oh, you just don't.
You just keep packing it in there.
Well, eventually
and when
someone
you fill
goes,
up one.
and they goes everywhere.
Well, let me ask you this: why don't you just drop your ashes on the floor, since that's where it ends up anyway?
Because you could start a fire.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I'm not doing this to collect them in one spot. They're going to go everywhere. I'm
Yeah,
doing this
no.
because it's a fire hazard, and I
Yeah.
need them to go out.
Right. And sometimes I need to smoke in the winter. Like, no. Because I'm
Yeah,
only
that's
really
true. Mostly
using
they
the
go out the window,
ashtray
yeah.
from, like October to March.
So like April, yeah.
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, the
so
world
there's-
is my ashtray.
Yeah. There's a thing Star Trek got right. The original series, no one smokes.
No one
No one
smokes.
smokes in the
That's
future.
true.
Yes.
It's becoming true.
You know what's
That's a good
interesting?
point.
This is a weird.
Because they
Well-
already knew it was bad for you.
No one smokes cigarettes in the future, but so many people smoke weed.
Oh my God.
That's a different problem.
That is another problem. And like, look, I don't begrudge our ganja smoking audience members who are big fans, and I understand, and I
Right.
not that I
Yeah, but
fought for your
inhaling
rights. but I
smoke is bad for you. I'm
inhaling smoke in
sorry.
general is bad for you, and weed
Well, it's
in
not just
general.
weed; it's also e-cigarettes and
Oh,
vaping.
e-cigarettes
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
vaping and
yeah.
stuff like that. It's like it's all the same in terms of
Yeah.
like its health
Yeah.
benefits, which of course there are none. But like, yeah, man.
Sorry, yeah, I don't mean to.
No. But one of the things that's funny is just it was I'm thinking of like the comparison of like original TNG, like TNG all the way up to like the last show that it aired before the streaming wars, when Picard took over and they were like, "Hey, we're streaming, we can curse now," and I'm like, I kind of thought that like while they
Yeah.
couldn't curse in the shows and they didn't in the movies, that it's more like we got past that.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
that was part of the vibe.
yeah, and then they're
Yeah.
like, "No, the Admiral's going to drop the F-bomb at Picard right now." And it's like, oh,
Well, he's the bad guy.
what, Picard?
No, the Admiral.
No, it's a woman, remember? She was like,
Oh,
"Oh,
I
the
don't
sheer
remember.
fucking hubris."
Yeah. Anyway, the Admiral's always the antagonist. I don't
Well,
remember
that's true.
that.
Yeah,
fucking
no,
show,
that's
but
true.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
That's how you know.
That's
You
how you
don't-
know they're the best. I don't think
like,
that's
you're not
what that
this
was.
is the future. You're not supposed to swear. What do you do with
What are
a
you
gun in
doing?
space? That's what that is.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you do with a fucking Star Wars?
Well, yeah. Okay, really quick. What is it? The last one from the prequels. What the hell was it? Revenge of the Sith?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's PG-13.
It is because they
Does one
burn
fuck?
Anakin alive.
Where do you put the fuck?
Oh, they didn't.
They didn't.
But where should they have put it?
Mm. Oh.
I'm gonna go back to the moment I just mentioned where Anakin's
Yeah.
burning alive.
Yeah,
I hate you.
fucking hate you.
hate you.
That would be. Can you imagine a generation of children? Holy shit! Darth Vader just dropped the F-bomb in Obi-Wan. It would have been justified. It would have been earned.
It would have
definitely.
been. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
cut my fucking alarms off.
Well,
It
you
made me
can't
a
change the
fucking
line.
stump.
You have to add an F. He can't put a hat on it.
Oh, I
You
have to
fucking chop
insert
my
it.
arms and legs off, you piece of shit. What the fuck?
Well, that's mine. What do you got, Jason?
Okay. When Obi-Wan views the recording of Anakin killing the younglings, he just goes, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
What do you got, Sal?
It's got to be Darth. It's got to be Palpatine. Palpatine has to say the F word because he's just
Because he's a bad guy.
because he's a bad guy. He's old.
Mhm.
It could have been when they got Dooku by the balls that he's like, "Do it, fucking do it."
Fucking do it.
Oh,
that
that's
might be
good.
one. But he's got so many hilarious lines. I mean, he could have been like, "My little green fucking friend," when he's talking to Yoda.
That's pretty good.
Oh, any of the what's that line? He became so fucking powerful.
That might be my favorite. That's pretty good. That's the bubble opera is my favorite
The
scene.
bubble opera.
And that would have just put it over the top. I'm gonna throw out what about the fucking droid attack on the Wookiees?
Who's
Yeah. Is that Kiadi Mundi?
Yeah.
Dude,
Jason,
I
are you
got
not aware of what about the droid attack of the Wookiees as a meme? Because this is one of my favorite memes.
Oh, I just thought you were okay.
No.
All right, never mind.
No,
I just thought you were being a weirdo. But okay,
no.
I know it's a thing.
It's a thing. People will drop that image in when it's like when people are like, what about this? What about this? What about the droid attack on the Wookiees? Because it's such a stupid thing to say.
Yeah, well, because I want to drop the name Wookiees in the movie.
Yeah.
Aren't you like a military strategist? Like, aren't you running the whole war? What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Ugh.
What are we gonna do about this?
Honestly, that's actually the most honest that Kiadi Mundi could be, because he's like, "No, I'm a fucking space monk. I'm not a general."
Hey, no one's mentioning that. What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Hey, what about that droid attack on the
Didn't we do
Wookiees?
something?
Oh, Jesus. He did not embrace this role well. Like, the whole Jedi Council became generals and shit. Kiadi Mooney did not ease into that new role very well. Like he did not get it. No, I got the line. It's Palpatine. Unlimited fucking power.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty. Yeah,
It's got to be Palpatine.
Yeah.
I mean, or it's just poor Padme being like, I heard about you killing fucking younglings.
what
Either
the
way.
fuck, Anakin?
What the fuck?
Yeah, she'd have to utter that line a little different, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
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 It's pretty incredulous.
It would be satisfying to hear either Padme or Obi-Wan at some point in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, Anakin?
Yes.
Yeah. Just what the
What the fuck,
dude,
Anakin?
what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only PG-13 Star Wars. No, that's not true.
The later ones, right?
Yeah, I think all the
newer one. Yeah.
the newer ones.
Yeah. I don't remember, but I think probably most of them, right? Were PG-13, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it might be just Revenge of the Sith, but like, I mean, Andor would be PG-13, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe the new ones did. Yeah, you might be right.
Let's see. Yeah, Force Awakens is PG-13.
Jesus Christ, what the hell happens in that movie that makes that that intense?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think we just changed. You know, I think like, well, people are killed in that movie.
Yeah, what?
The Force Awakens received a PG-13 rating for sci-fi action violence, which included elements such as lightsaber duels, blaster fights, explosions, and large-scale destruction. The film also contained scenes of moderate threat, emotional intensity, and brief moments of torture-like interrogation using the Force.
It's interesting because it's like we've become more sensitive to certain things and less sensitive to other things, right?
We're more sensitive to the wrong things and less sensitive to the wrong things. Like we were like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. Like that horrifying genocide is okay with me, but like, you know what it is.
But he was interrogated with the Force. That
Oh no,
there's implied suffering.
Right.
You know what really has become more prescient as it gets older is fucking South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut. Mindless, deplorable violence is okay as long as nobody says any naughty words.
Yeah, but here's a case where even mindless, deplorable violence was not okay.
No,
right?
That's not mindless and deplorable. The reason why they have blaster fire is because they don't have bullets, so they don't show blood. Like that's
I know
how they get.
It's not even mindless and deplorable, but yet it's still not okay.
Yeah, well, like it's just so intense. Like,
yeah, but definitely if they said the F word, it would have gotten an R.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think PG-13 is the most abused rating. I think they shouldn't have created it. I don't think did it exist when Star Wars came out? It was invented for Temple of Doom.
Temple of Doom. So 81.
Yeah.
So yeah, it existed for Return of the Jedi because it was 83.
Yeah.
Yeah. Empire.
I wonder if the torture scene in Empire would have gotten it a PG-13 rating had it existed. They torture Han Solo. He screams in pain.
Yeah.
I know. It's so intense. What about that poor Wampa? That's animal cruelty. Oh, the Tauntaun? He cuts it right open.
Yeah, it's still warm.
He puts a person in there. And then he makes fun of it.
We need to stop.
The show's over. Well, there you go, everybody. We really went down some rabbit holes today, but let us know in the comments down below. I don't know, whatever Ethan asked earlier.
What's the peak of civilization if you're the robots in the Matrix?
Oh,
what
yeah.
Year?
No. What's your favorite piece of sci-fi technology? If you don't want to go that
What about
far.
your 50 years in the future?
50 year. Yeah, what's your 50 year?
I said the thing about growing.
No, I mean, ask this audience.
Comments.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah. What do you think in 50 years? Don't get as bleak. Try to make my day a little better when I look at the comments.
Make it happy.
Like in Men in Black. Make it a happy memory. Just, I don't know, man. But anyway, thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate you and your insights. It was a fun conversation. Jason, Ethan, thanks for being here. We'll see you guys next time in another episode right here at ComicPop Returns.